Welcome back to My Hero Academia interview. This is episode number 19. Yep, 19. And this we're reviewing the 69th episode of the anime, 61st episode of the anime, Deku vs. Kacchan Part 2, and the 198th chapter of the manga. At times, one must stop to analyze the situation. It's essential. Yeah. Now, as for this particular episode, this episode adapts pretty much from the last 3 pages of chapter 117, the entirety of 118 and 120, and the first 9 pages of 121. I know because I looked it up. And plus also, I have this. I don't have volume 14, so I'll probably get that in the future. But yeah. Far I can tell about this particular episode, they kept a lot of stuff in. This particular fight was very brutal, a little more brutal than it was in the manga. But yeah, a lot of the dialogue pretty much survived from the manga, and yeah, over the course of 23 minutes, they kept in pretty much the entire fight. It was kind of interesting though. Last week they ended at the start of the fight, and this one is the entire fight. And the whole thing is basically Deku versus Bakudo, and they tear up this practice field. And Eraserhead is only seen a couple times in the whole episode, which is true, because throughout these chapters, he's only seen twice. He's only seen just a couple times. He's seen, like, briefly I think it was like 118, where he gets he gets informed that Deku and Bakudo are fighting in the practice field. And then next time you see him is when he's scolding them for their actions. And the reason why, and apparently All Might explains it to Eraserhead that it's actually his fault that this fight happened. And he perfectly accepts it. His explanation is perfectly reasonable. So their punishment is this. Bakudo gets 4 days of house arrest. Deku gets 3 days of house arrest. They have to clean the dorms morning and night, and they have to write a written apology. Okay. I'm a little surprised that there's no punishment for rebuilding the practice field. My guess is it's probably on their school budget anyways, but yeah. But it's interesting, though, that is their punishment. 4 days of house arrest. I mean, Bakudo, I get kind of the reason why 4 days of house arrest, because the guy is very paranoid. And Bakudo pointed out, though, I threw the first punch. He even asked, who threw the first punch? Bakudo says, I did. And Deku was like, yeah, I hit harder. So, yeah. I gotta say, this was a really good episode. Even though most of the episode just a brawl between Deku and Bakudo, it was really good. High praise the animation for it. All Might basically plays a role, and he of course, Bakudo is of course explained the whole thing of the all for one spark, the one for all spark. Yeah, he's explained yeah, from what I can tell, Deku told him by accident. I don't think he meant to do it. No. Well, let's talk about the newest chapter. By the way, this chapter has got a long name. Yeah, by far, for a chapter for this particular series, usually I see Gintama basically having even episode with this long of a title. I mean, it's two lines. It's at times one must stop and analyze the current situation. It's essential. Yep. Pretty much this chapter starts off with Eraserhead. Yep, and he's congratulating. Anyways, yeah. Let's see here. He's congratulating the first team that survived. What happened in the last chapter. Which, of course, is Froppy's team. I call it Froppy's team, even though that Shinso is basically on the team as well. But, yeah, I refer to it as Team Froppy. Yeah, because he basically gives a good praise. He's very pleased with what the results of the tests were. Well, you know, just training exercise between 2 classes. and you see the Harding guy just acting particularly normal. Everyone's like, yep, everyone's like, very happy. You see a good amount of Froppy in this whole chapter. I love Froppy's outfit where she included a ball cap with these frog-like eyes. Yeah, I love that about her. See, Shoshu basically messing with his armbands. And you see Midnight, and she just, and of course they all give their analysis of the team. You have Kurosama, he's the Harding guy. Yeah, he says, focus on your sit-ups to lower your opponent's in-range combat. Koda, he's the guy who talks to birds. Alright, everybody, you're thinking. You're already well. Continue thinking about your weak points. Okay. Alright, you're far too careless in the beginning. Are you incapable of withstanding your comrades first? And as for Froppy, rather than dwelling on your mistakes, work on your ability to respond confidently. Okay, give him pretty good advice. Yeah, and of course, the Class 1B homebrew teacher is very disappointed with his students, so he just scolds them. As for Sosoro, he gets nothing. Yep. And I had this funny feeling that Midnight has a thing for All Might. Yeah, because this chapter has them basically near each other a lot. So I would not be surprised if these two develop a relationship. And we see stuff for the Team 2. These people from Class 1B that goes out there, it's a woman who kind of looks like Kagura. Yeah, with a Chinese style outfit. Her name is Tasuga Kanido. You have a guy who looks like he's covered in black named Shine Karuru. A guy with the look like a comic book panel on his face named Manga Furisia. And a woman whose hair is really long, covers her eyes, named Komori. Yeah. As for Team 2, it's comprised of, from Class 1A, it's the guy who could fire a laser from his belly button, Invisible Girl, Dark Shadow, and Crazy. Yep. I'm like, this is not a bad team. I mean, think about Invisible Girl. No one knows if she's even there or not. And I'm sure from their perspective, it's great to have the vice president of the class on their team. Yeah, she's been the vice president since they had their election. Deku was elected the president of the class, but he turned it down and gave it to Ingenium, who was a lot better at keeping stuff in line. Though I think the reason I chose Deku because he's popular. Yep. So mostly put, and then we have Kido, who's having a brief conversation with Crazy. She says she's really looking forward to fighting her in this particular fight. We have Dark Shadow meeting up with his counterpart, and from what I can tell, he's looking forward to fighting him as well. Everyone looks forward to this fight. And of course, they say that Kinto is the big sister of Class B. We have Shudo says we'll see whether Yosu Operation would pierce them or not. Operation. Yeah, it's talking about like quirks, and of course, Dark Shadow comes out and sends a shadow out to attack them. Takes out the guy with the carbon in black. And the chapter ends with Dark Shadow just getting rid of the fight. Yeah, so this was a really good chapter. Yeah, just dealing with the aftermath of the previous arc, which is previous few chapters, which is nice, and the start of the next few chapters. I'm sure this particular fight probably would this particular match probably would also last about 3 chapters, but it depends on the writer. It could wrap up next chapter because we're only 2 chapters away from chapter 200. Yes, and at the rate it's going at, it's going to hit 200 the same time, like probably around the same weekend that the final episode of season 3 comes out. Otherwise, though, pretty good week when it comes to My Hero Academia. Looking forward to next week, which is going to be looks like it started the new semester, but in my opinion, it's also going to be to start, basically set up for the next arc of the series, which is the internship arc. Even though we're kind of in the internship arc right now, because the chapters are actually kind of part of it, even though for some reason they include as part of the hero licensing arc, even though this has nothing to do with hero license at all, this is just the aftermath chapters. But it's also set up for the internship arc. Yep. So yeah, that's really it for this particular review. Stay tuned for 2 comic corners I'm planning to do today. Okay. The first one I'm going to do is going to be on 2 DC trades. Yep. One is wrapping up a writer's volume. I have read the first volume for this one. The other is another volume for this particular trade series. But you'll find out what they are when I get the chance to review them. Okay. But do see you there. Bye.